My family mocked my 1-year-old's party, so I canceled the $15,000 cruise I funded. My daughter turned 1, and I wanted her party to feel joyful, simple, and special. I spent weeks planning. I ordered a castle cake with tiny flags, booked a 1-hour photographer, and hung pink banners and paper crowns. I set the cake near the window on a sturdy table, checked the high chair strap, napkins, plates, and fruit. Guests came in, music low. I took a few pictures of my baby tapping the tray. People laughed. For 10 minutes, everything held. Then my mom crossed the room with a full glass of wine, talking loud about how I always go overboard, waving her hands while she spoke to my aunt. My sister Jessica walked behind her with her phone up, recording. Mom leaned over the cake to point at the tiny door and kept talking. She said the baby would never remember any of this, and I should relax. She laughed at the banners and said the photographer was silly. Then her elbow hit the table. The 3-tier castle slid, tilted, and went over. It hit the floor with a dull thump. Frosting smeared across the floor. The room went quiet, except for a few gasps and the tap of Jessica's screen as she started a new clip. Mom laughed and said, "Oops, it's just cake." She told me I should have bought a cheap one, that I was showing off. Jessica giggled about the caption she would use and zoomed in on the mess. She handed me a wrinkled gift bag that looked like it had lived in her car. Inside was a plastic toy from a dollar bin, opened and missing a wheel with a 50-cent sticker still stuck on it. Jessica shrugged and said the baby wouldn't know the difference. I set the toy on the counter without a word. My dad stood and raised his beer like a toast. He told the room this was a lesson for me about wasting money. He said real families don't need fancy cakes to celebrate. A couple relatives clapped. Uncle Bob shouted, "Hear, hear!" across the room. Phones came out. A few people smirked. Someone said it was not a big deal and that a picture would last longer than cake. My daughter started to cry in her high chair, a tight, tired cry. Someone stepped in a lump of frosting and scraped it on the rug with their shoe. Another cousin lifted a piece with a fork and asked if we could still serve the top tier. My mom said to cut off the dirty parts and stop being dramatic. I moved fast. I wiped frosting off the chair leg and rubbed her back. Mom waved the photographer off and told him to keep shooting because it was good content. Jessica held her phone 6 inches from my face and asked me to say something for the video. Dad told me to quit pouting and clean up. My aunt tried to scoop cake back on the plate. I looked at the floor, at the cake, at my baby's wet lashes. I took a slow breath that felt like closing a door. I didn't argue. I set the broken toy back inside the bag. I pulled out my phone and opened the travel app I had kept secret for a month. I had booked a surprise European cruise for the whole extended family for Christmas. 12 people, balcony rooms, food included. It was meant to be a gift. My thumb hovered. Then I canceled the entire thing. The booking vanished from the screen. I opened my banking app. Jessica's car loan had my name on it as a cosigner. I removed my name. The screen asked if I was sure. I tapped yes. Done. Then I opened the account where I had set up automatic help for my parents' mortgage and utilities. I paused, thought about Dad's smiling toast, and froze the transfers. Phones started buzzing around the room. Mom's face changed first. She squinted and swiped. Jessica pulled her phone down and frowned. Dad refreshed his email. Uncle Bob asked why his itinerary said canceled. The room stopped smiling. My baby hiccuped and reached for me with both hands. Mom asked me what I had done. Dad told me not to be dramatic and to fix it. Jessica said I was ruining a family memory. I put my phone in my pocket and picked up my daughter. I said, "Accidents happen." Jessica snapped, "Are you serious right now?" Mom said we could buy a new cake and to stop making a scene. I held my daughter, who rubbed her eyes and laid her head on my shoulder. I grabbed the diaper bag and my keys. My aunt stepped into my path and said we should talk later. I said we had talked for years and nothing changed. I walked past the cake, stepped around the frosting, and headed for the door. People said my name and told me to wait. Uncle Bob said I should reconsider the cruise because he had already asked for time off. Dad called me ungrateful. Jessica said I owed her an explanation and a signature for the loan. Mom told me to be reasonable and to think of family. I opened the door to cool air. I buckled my daughter into her car seat. She calmed as soon as the door closed and the noise dropped. I stood by the open door for 5 seconds. Inside, voices overlapped, sharp and busy. Someone jiggled the handle behind me. I got in the driver's seat, started the car, and drove away. Now my family are saying canceling the $15,000 cruise is petty. Was I wrong for it?